Join me as I dive into the mystery of what really happened in this small town. Can I uncover the secrets that everyone's been talking about? In the sleepy town of Willow Creek, Oregon, nestled between dense pine forests and rolling hills, the illusion of tranquility shattered on a crisp autumn morning in 2023. The discovery of a body in the shadow of the old Whitaker Mill sent shockwaves through the tight-knit community, exposing a web of deceit, forbidden love, and a betrayal so profound it would haunt Willow Creek for generations. This is the story of Margaret Maggie Ellison, a woman whose double life led to a murder that no one saw coming. Maggie Ellison, 38, was the epitome of small-town charm. With her warm smile, auburn hair, and a knack for baking the best blueberry pies in Willow Creek, she was a beloved figure. She lived in a quaint craftsman home on Maple Street with her husband, Daniel Ellison, a reserved high school math teacher, and their two children, 12-year-old Sophie and 10-year-old Caleb. Maggie ran a small florist shop, Petals and Promises, where she crafted bouquets for weddings, funerals, and every occasion in between. Her infectious laugh and genuine kindness made her a confidant to many, from the local pastor to the teenagers who hung out at the shop after school. To outsiders, the Ellisons were the ideal family. They attended Sunday services at Willow Creek Community Church, volunteered at the annual Harvest Festival, and hosted barbecues that drew neighbors like moths to a flame. Daniel, though quieter than his vivacious wife, was respected for his patience with students and his dedication to the school's chess club. Sophie and Caleb were bright, polite, and always seen riding their bikes down the tree-lined streets. But beneath this polished exterior, Maggie was unraveling. Her marriage to Daniel had been strained for years. What began as a passionate romance in their early 20s had faded into a routine of silent dinners and separate bedrooms. Daniel's long hours grading papers and coaching left Maggie feeling invisible. She craved connection, passion, something to remind her she was more than a wife and mother. In the spring of 2022, she found it in an unlikely place, a 19-year-old college student named Riley Parker. Riley Parker was the son of Willow Creek's mayor, Evelyn Parker, a formidable woman known for her iron grip on local politics. Riley, home for the summer from Portland State University, was everything Maggie wasn't: young, reckless, and unburdened by responsibility. With his tousled dark hair, piercing green eyes, and a smirk that hinted at trouble, he turned heads wherever he went. He started working part-time at Petals and Promises, delivering flowers to make extra cash. Maggie, initially charmed by his wit, hired him on a whim. Their relationship began innocently enough. Riley would linger after deliveries, sharing stories of his college adventures, and Maggie would listen, captivated by his energy. She found herself dressing up for work, wearing lipstick she hadn't touched in years, and laughing more than she had in a decade. By July, their flirtations turned physical. Stolen kisses in the shop's back room escalated to secret meetups in the abandoned Whitaker Mill, a crumbling relic on the outskirts of town. The mill, with its rusted machinery and ivy-covered walls, became their sanctuary, a place where Maggie could escape the monotony of her life. Riley, however, was not the carefree dreamer Maggie imagined. Beneath his charm lay a calculating streak. He saw Maggie's affection as a game, a way to rebel against his overbearing mother and the expectations of Willow Creek's elite. He recorded their encounters on his phone, not out of love but as leverage, a twisted insurance policy should their affair ever come to light. Maggie, blinded by infatuation, was unaware of the videos, nor did she notice Riley's growing detachment as the summer waned. By September 2022, Maggie's behavior began to shift. She grew distracted, forgetting orders at the shop and missing Sophie's piano recital. Her once vibrant energy was replaced by a nervous edge. She was consumed by Riley, texting him constantly and panicking when he didn't respond. Neighbors noticed her absence from church and whispered about her late-night drives. Daniel, preoccupied with work, chalked it up to stress, but Sophie, ever observant, sensed something was wrong. "Mom's not herself," she confided to her best friend Lila one afternoon. Lila's mother, Karen, a nosy realtor, began to speculate, her gossip spreading like wildfire. Riley, meanwhile, was tiring of the affair. He was set to return to college, and Maggie's clinginess was becoming a liability. He started pulling away, ignoring her messages and making excuses to avoid the mill. Maggie, desperate to hold on to him, began showering him with gifts, expensive watches, cash from the shop's till, hoping to keep him close. When that failed, she resorted to threats, hinting she'd tell his mother about their relationship if he left her. Riley, unfazed, laughed it off, knowing he held the upper hand with his secret recordings. The tension reached a boiling point on October 15th, 2022. Maggie, frantic after Riley ghosted her for days, drove to the mill, where she found him with another girl, a classmate from Portland. The betrayal was a gut punch. In a tearful confrontation, Maggie screamed that she'd ruin him, that she'd expose everything. Riley, cold and dismissive, told her to leave, warning that he had proof that would destroy her first. Maggie, humiliated and heartbroken, drove home, her mind racing with fear and rage. On October 17, 2023, Daniel Ellison woke to an empty house. It was 6:30 a.m., and the kids were still asleep. Maggie, who usually started her day with coffee and NPR, was nowhere to be found. Her car was in the driveway, but her purse and phone were gone. Daniel, assuming she'd gone for an early walk, got the kids ready for school. By 8 a.m., when she still hadn't returned, he called her cell, only to hear it ringing upstairs. Unease settled in his chest. At 9:15 a.m., a jogger named Tom Hargrove made a gruesome discovery near the Whitaker Mill. Hidden among the tall grass, partially covered by a tarp, was Maggie's body. She'd been stabbed multiple times, her floral dress soaked in blood. Her left hand clutched a single daisy, a chilling detail that would later haunt investigators. Tom, a retired mechanic, fumbled for his phone and called 911, his voice trembling as he described the scene. Within minutes, Willow Creek's small police force descended on the mill, cordoning off the area with yellow caution tape. Detective Laura Bennett, a 15-year veteran with a reputation for tenacity, led the investigation. The crime scene was chaotic. Blood splattered the grass and footprints crisscrossed the muddy ground. Maggie's wounds suggested a frenzied attack, with at least 12 stab wounds to her chest and neck. A kitchen knife, its handle wiped clean, was found 20 feet away, partially submerged in a nearby creek. Laura noted the daisy in Maggie's hand, wondering if it was a clue or a taunt from the killer. News of Maggie's death spread like wildfire. By noon, reporters from Portland had set up camp outside the mill, their cameras capturing the somber faces of neighbors who gathered to mourn. The Ellisons' home became a shrine, with flowers and candles piling up on the porch. Daniel, devastated, could barely speak to police, his grief compounded by guilt for not noticing Maggie's struggles. Sophie and Caleb, too young to process the loss, clung to their father, their world shattered. Laura and her team worked tirelessly. The lack of fingerprints on the knife was a setback, but the footprints, size 10 men's boots, offered a lead. They canvassed the neighborhood, interviewing everyone from Maggie's customers to Riley's friends. Suspicion quickly fell on 3 individuals: Daniel Ellison, Riley Parker, and Karen Whitaker, the realtor whose family owned the mill. Daniel was the obvious first suspect. As Maggie's husband, he had motive if he'd discovered her affair. His alibi, he was home with the kids, was shaky. As Sophie admitted, she'd heard the garage door open around midnight. During questioning, Daniel was cooperative but distant, his answers clipped. He denied knowing about any affair, but Laura sensed he was hiding something. A search of the Ellison home turned up nothing incriminating, though Laura noted Daniel's collection of hunting knives, none of which matched the murder weapon. Riley Parker was next. His connection to Maggie was uncovered when a shop employee mentioned seeing them together often. When Laura brought him in, Riley was cocky, claiming he barely knew Maggie beyond work. But his phone told a different story. Deleted texts, recovered by forensics, revealed heated exchanges between him and Maggie, including her threats to expose him. The videos of their encounters, found on a hidden app, were damning, showing Maggie's desperation and Riley's indifference. Riley admitted to the affair but swore he was at a party in Portland the night of the murder. His alibi checked out, but Laura wasn't convinced. Karen Whitaker, the gossipy realtor, was a wild card. Her family's mill was the crime scene, and she'd been vocal about Maggie's odd behavior in recent months. Karen, 45, was fiercely protective of Willow Creek's reputation and had clashed with Maggie over a zoning dispute involving the mill. During questioning, Karen was evasive, claiming she was home alone the night of the murder. A neighbor, however, reported seeing her car near the mill around 1 a.m. Karen's motive was unclear, but Laura suspected she knew more than she let on. As the investigation dragged on, Willow Creek turned on itself. Rumors swirled. Some blamed Daniel, others pointed to Riley's bad boy reputation, and a few whispered about Karen's vendetta. Evelyn Parker, Riley's mother, used her influence to deflect suspicion, publicly praising her son's character while privately hiring a lawyer. The church, once a unifying force, became a battleground, with sermons about forgiveness clashing with calls for justice. Laura dug deeper, uncovering a bombshell. Maggie had been pregnant. An autopsy revealed she was 8 weeks along, and DNA tests confirmed Riley as the father. This revelation shifted the narrative. Had Maggie told Riley about the pregnancy? Was it the catalyst for her murder? Riley, re-interviewed, denied knowing about the baby, but his composure cracked, his hands shaking as he spoke. Meanwhile, Sophie, grappling with her mother's death, found a hidden journal in Maggie's nightstand. The entries detailed her affair with Riley, her fear of losing him, and her guilt over betraying her family. One passage stood out. "He says he'll ruin me if I tell anyone. I don't know what to do." Sophie, torn between loyalty to her mother and the need for truth, gave the journal to Laura, tears streaming down her face. On November 10th, 2023, a breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Caleb, Maggie's son, told Laura he'd seen Karen Whitaker near their house the night of the murder, holding a flashlight and looking angry. Confronted with this, Karen crumbled. She admitted to following Maggie, suspecting her of vandalizing the mill to sabotage the zoning deal. Karen had seen Maggie arguing with Riley at the mill that night and, in a fit of rage over the affair's impact on the town's image, confronted her. When Maggie threatened to expose Karen's own secrets, a bribery scandal involving the mill, Karen snapped, grabbing a knife from her car and stabbing Maggie in a blind fury. Karen's confession was a gut punch. She hadn't planned to kill Maggie, she claimed, but the confrontation spiraled out of control. The daisy in Maggie's hand was from a bouquet Karen had brought to reason with her, a twisted gesture of peace gone horribly wrong. Karen had wiped the knife and fled, hoping the affair would pin the blame on Riley or Daniel. On November 12th, 2023, Karen Whitaker was arrested for Maggie's murder. The news stunned Willow Creek. Karen, a pillar of the community, was now a pariah. Her trial, held in March 2024, was a media circus. The prosecution painted her as a calculating killer driven by pride and greed, while the defense argued she acted in a moment of passion. The jury, swayed by the journal and Caleb's testimony, found her guilty of second-degree murder. She was sentenced to 20 years, her family's legacy in tatters. The Ellisons struggled to rebuild. Daniel quit teaching, moving with Sophie and Caleb to Portland for a fresh start. The kids in therapy slowly began to heal, though Maggie's absence left a void that would never fill. Riley, cleared of murder but shunned for his role, dropped out of college and left Oregon, his once bright future dimmed by scandal. Evelyn Parker resigned as mayor, her reputation ruined. Willow Creek, forever changed, became a cautionary tale. The Whitaker Mill, now a grim landmark, was slated for demolition, its ghost too heavy to bear. Maggie's story, one of love, betrayal, and desperation, lingered in the town's collective memory, a reminder that even the most idyllic places hide dark secrets. If this story gave you chills, don't forget to smash that like button and share the scare with your friends. Subscribe to our channel for more bone chilling tales and hit the notification bell so you never miss a new video. Have your own creepy crime experience? Drop it in the comments. We want to hear your story. Remember, in the world of crime, not everything is as it seems. Stay safe out there. See you in the next true crime.